Hi everyone, today's planner page is this really pretty peacock picture, and I have decided to use my Bambino colouring crayons to colour it. Now I've done this page before in the main version of World of Flowers, which is what it's from obviously. I'm just going to dust the page. It's got really dusty. It's been sitting open for a few days while I was sorry, that was very blurred. While I was contemplating what to do with it. What I've decided is, rather than doing lots of colours, which would look very pretty, I agree, I'm just going to stick to a limited colour palette. I'm actually just going to use the 3 blues. I quite like a blue palette, and I thought it might be fun just to try something a little bit different on this page. Now, I'm not going to do the whole page for you guys because there's an awful lot going on, but I thought I'd do some of the bird and get started with it, and you can have a little look and see what you think, whether you want to carry on and do a blue palette. Now my thought also is, I am not sure whether I'm going to do the whole thing blue or whether just the bird blue, and also what about the beak, not sure. So I'm going to start with the darkest blue in the Bambino set. This is the one with the little seals on. And just start with this piece here. I think it's called a crest, I'm not sure, but and I'm just going to go in quite dark here and then reduce the layers as I go along, so you can see the colour is fading. And I'm going to do exactly the same from the other end of this piece as well, so harder on the edge and then less as we go in. Now I'm going to not go over that bit, I'll show you why. So I'm going to reduce that a bit. I'm going to do this bit hard and then reduce it. It won't look that different because we haven't reduced the layers massively. Okay, and now I'm going to take my next lightest, the kangaroo blue, so it's a little bit lighter. I'm going to go right over the top of what I've done already, like that, and then reduce my layers again, and the idea is to fade it right towards the middle, so to start reducing it here, but still have colour there but just a bit less, and hopefully you can see. Let's grab the brush. Where should I put it? Oh, over there. Just sweep it away so you can see the impact of that. Now I'm tempted to go back in with my darkest one and just go back over the top of these darker areas. Now if you don't have the Bambino crayons, you can use any pencils, or I'm tempted to say pens, but I don't think so really, to do this. You know, just use one dark, one slightly lighter, and work them together. Doesn't matter exactly which ones you use. It's nice, I realise, to use the same ones if you particularly like the colour or whatever. But there we go. Now we've got a few tiny gaps in the middle there. I'm just going to blend it in the centre with the white. This can blend quite well. It will move the colour about a bit, but it won't make it any darker. I don't really want that centre part any darker. I just want it to look slightly more solid without being dark. There we go. Okay, so now I've got the, I'm going to leave the eye for now because I may decide just to do it a different colour, just to be a bit different. I'm thinking that now. I should move on and think about that in a moment. Now, because we have got the very lightest blue, and what I'm going to do with the lightest blue is do the main parts of the body, so the bits that don't have a design on them, okay? So I'm going to leave that aside, and I'm going to do some more of the detail just to show you through the sort of head and neck of the bird. So for this flower here, I'm going to use this darkest blue. This is again one I forget how to speak. The one with the seal on it. Or sea lion, I think it is, not a seal. I don't know if there's a huge difference. So I'm going in with more layers near to the center and trying to reduce it to the edge, but I don't want to add another color on these petals, so I want to make sure that I've got a good enough coverage of crayon without it being too dark. So I'm sort of really laying it up near the center like that, and then I'm going to use my slightly lighter shade, the kangaroo, to do the center. I'm going to do a similar thing where I'm going to go darker on the edge and lighter towards the middle. You can see how pretty that colour is when it's on its own. Here it's sort of mixed in a bit with the darker blue, so you can't appreciate how pretty it is quite in the same way. I'm going to do a similar thing with these shapes around the eye here. And so going in with the darker colour and fading towards the edge. Now the iris of the eye here is could be done in the lighter blue, but I've had an idea. I'm going to keep going with this one just to even out that a little bit, trying to make that much darker near the eye, and then I'm going to do these two parts here with the slightly lighter one. So this is back to the kangaroo crayon again, so we're going back and forth quite a bit. Hope it isn't too confusing. And then try and reduce those layers towards the center. Just gives it the look of a bit of a shine. The feathers could be slightly metallic, couldn't they? So there's that part. Now for the centre, the iris, I've been thinking about this as I've been chattering. I decided to go for this bluey green colour. This is the koala colour. My paper's getting a bit ripped. And I think I'm going to make it a little bit darker at the top and reduce it to the bottom. I think this is a slightly bluey green. I think it sort of stands out. So I'm breaking my own rules in not sticking to all the blues. I think it would just help that needs to stand out a little bit. And also for the center, I'm actually going to use black. I think it's just going to be the color. It, you know, I think if I used blues in there, or the blues that I've been using, it wouldn't stand out as an eye, and I think it might look a little odd. I'm trying to go a little bit darker around the edge of the eye to make it slightly lighter in the middle, but I feel it needs a bit of white. It looks a bit stark like that. So I'm going to grab my thinnest jelly roll. Actually, I've got one that's a 0.5, so it's quite thin. I'm just going to scribble with it a little bit. Sometimes it needs a bit of help to get going, and I'm just going to do a little dot and a line through the pupil like that. You can do it however you wish. I'm also thinking I might do the beak in black rather than introducing a yellow, which is always the temptation with a beak, but to do it black rather than yellow. But anyway, I'm going to do a little bit more work on the neck area. Just trying to sort out my crayons so that I don't get them muddled. So I'm back to the one with the sea lion on, doing a little dark. I've chosen to do this bit dark because it's on the edge, it's underneath as well. It might be darker. I'm going to do this bit quite solidly dark. There's no shading on there, it's just quite hard. But for the leaf, I'm going to reduce it up like that. So we're going to use the other colour to finish that off. I'm just trying to make sure it's fairly even graduation of colour. And now with this one, again, I'm still using the same colour blue at the moment. Up here, slightly faded around, excuse me, around there. I've just eaten a bit of chocolate. Always eating the old chocolate, aren't I? And a bit around here. And then that's got a little bit lighter. We'll go over that with the other crayon in a moment. Down here and a bit here. Again with this one, I'm going to fade it towards the tip a bit and we'll go over it. And same here. Now we're moving into flowers again here. I'm not worried about whether colouring leaves or flowers with regards to colour. I'm just going to use the same sort of pattern for both. So again, this darker crayon here and a bit less towards the bottom. Okay, so that's that whole little section done. I find it much quicker if you do all of one colour and then all of another colour. It isn't so interesting though if you're always using the same colour, so think about what's going to work for you. Going back to our kangaroo colour, and we're going to fill in those bits where I purposely faded it really. So here, and you can see I like this pretty colour blue, so it sort of pretties everything up a little bit. So just carefully going over it all. I want to leave that bit dark, so I'm not going to go over that bit because it will lighten it. And over this bit, and here we go. I'm anxiously listening for the doorbell again, as I very often am. I'm actually expecting a parcel today again. This time it's not a colouring related parcel. Now I'm going to go in with the light blue. This has got the bird on it, and I'm just going to colour it up to here, just so you can have a look at what I'm doing, because I'm not going to colour the whole bird in this video. There's a lot to do, so I thought I would just show you the impact of having the blue background. Now what I'm going to do with the blue is I'm not going to place it evenly across the whole of the bird. I'm going to try and make it darker in areas where I think it would be darker. So I feel that under here there's going to be more shadow than here. Now the light might catch it here, but what we'll do is we'll put a little dark bit there and then reduce it, and so that we've got the lightest part here across the centre, which will help the bird's neck look like it's rounded rather than flat. But we need it, but we don't want too much at the top because that's where it will be lightest. There'll be more shade at the bottom here. So I'm putting my hardest layers down here to start with. Here I have kept it a little bit lighter. I'm going to go in darker in there and then lighten it up towards here. And this is probably my lightest part. So I'm just going to put a really light layer in here to start with. Now the joy of doing it all in one colour is that when I go over the line, it doesn't matter because it just disappears into the darker blue. So that's quite fun. We can bring out our white to help us as well with this in a moment. So I'm going to do a dark line there, but then I'm going to start fading this quite quickly. It's not going to be as thick and dark as this one here. So fade towards the centre. As I say, it doesn't matter if you go over the edges a little bit of the little details. And fade and fade. And now we're sort of at the stage where we can sit back, which I'm doing, have a look at it and think about where we need to add in a little more colour. So I'm quite happy with this bit, but I'm just going to try and fill that bit in a little bit there, but not too much, and start fading it. Same here and here. Now in this very centre, I haven't got a very solid line. Now I don't want it massively, I'm just going to put a bit more there, I think, massively solid, because I want it to look more rounded, and I hope that you can see that we have got that effect, or at least it's looking like that to me. So I'm going to grab this white again and just use that to blend this through a little bit in the centre, so it keeps it faint but just tidies it up. I'm not sure how well you can see the impact of that in the camera. It is making it darker. You can see it's slightly darker than this, but it isn't so dark that it takes away from the sort of impact that we want to have, as the neck being lighter in the centre. So it's quite good use for the white one. I did have someone asking me the other day whether the white really fades the colours, and it isn't hugely successful at that, but as a blender I'm really happy with it. So that's our head and neck, which I think has come out quite well, even if I do say so myself. I think I'm going to do the beak, and I am going to do it black, and I will show you how to do it before I finish. I'm hoping that you can use this idea to finish the bird and then think about what you want to do with the rest. I am going to do the legs in black to match the beak and the eye, but with the rest of the flowers and things, I'm not sure. I haven't really thought it all through yet. I sort of what I would do is I will have a look at what it looks like once the bird is finished, and then decide from that. So with this black, I'm going to try and make this lower bit a little bit darker, because I think lower down it would be more, there'd be more shadow. And the same with this upper part, I think it'd be darker here, and then lighter towards the centre of the beak area, where it would catch the light a little bit. I mean, a beak can be so shiny that we actually get white, but I'm probably just gonna do a very faint black instead, like that. And this hole, which is, I assume it's supposed to be the nostril, probably going to be a dark colour. Now I'm going to grab my white. I'm going to blend that central area like that, and I'm just going to fiddle with it until I'm happy. So I'm going to grab my black again and just put a bit more down here, where I think it should be a bit blacker. And really, I am, as I say, I'm just fiddling, and whether you choose to fiddle will depend on how you feel yours looks. So there is our, I'm going to zoom in a little so we can see it quite closely. I'm quite happy with how he is turning out, he or she. So I'm going to continue in this manner with these pencils, crayons. So using, as I say, the black for the legs, and then the light blue with the bird on for the main part of the body, and the other two darker blues with the sea lion and the kangaroo for the details, and then the white for blending. And hopefully I can get him or her looking the way I want. And as I say, I'm not sure about the rest yet. I'm going to wait, I'm going to finish it, and then I am going to decide. So I hope that has been useful to you. I think that looks a bit blurred. There we go. I think that's better. So, I hope you have a go. And as I say, you can use pencils. You don't have to use these crayons. Use whatever suits you. But thank you very much for watching. And I will share a completed version of this picture, hopefully at the end of the video if I get it done in time, or on my Instagram and my Pinterest page. So thank you so much for watching, and happy colouring.